Welcome back to Light the Fuse. Charles, how you doing on this fine early summer day?
I feel good. I feel really, really good. How are you doing, Drew Taylor?
Well, good, but you went to Disneyland yesterday, so you're doing better than I am.
That's true. I took my daughter for the first time, and it was magical.
What were her favorite rides?
I mean, she loves Alice in Wonderland almost as much as she loves Nightmare Before Christmas, which unfortunately they didn't have Haunted Mansion Holiday open yet until October. But she loved the Alice in Wonderland stuff, I think, and it was a little bit overwhelming for her. I think she's been kind of just in lockdown her whole life, and now we went from zero to Disneyland,
right?
And so it's like this totally crazy thing. But she loved the characters. She saw the chipmunks, and she was blowing kisses to the chipmunk characters that were there, and Mickey and Goofy were dancing for her, and she liked that. And I think she was more into the characters than the rides. The rides were a little bit, I don't know if they were scary, but they made her a little uneasy.
Right. Well, she got some. I saw her Zero plush.
Yes.
So she got some souvenirs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had to go by the store that had all the Jack Skellington and Nightmare Before Christmas stuff because it's her favorite. She loves it so much.
Wow, I love it.
We're really off the rails here, though.
We are. But I want people to know what's going on in our lives. So that's why I ask. We're back with part 2 of Pete Romano, a fascinating, I would say, interview. Of course, not because of anything you or I say, but because of how amazing this guest is and all the amazing things that he's done, all the amazing productions and filmmakers and crew members and technicians that he's worked with over the years doing this underwater photography. Are you excited to unleash part 2 of Pete Romano?
Yeah, it was cool to hear him talk about A Quiet Place 2, which I really enjoyed. I thought that was a really great movie. It was a great theater experience. And when we talked to him, it was before I saw the movie. So when going into the movie, I knew, there's going to be some underwater shit in this, isn't there? Because
I don't. Where was there underwater stuff? I don't remember it in the movie.
Well, they go to the docks. I don't want to spoil it.
Oh, that's
for
true.
Anybody, but
okay.
They do go to the docks.
Yes. That is a memorable scene now that I think about it.
Yes.
And it has a weird cameo by a very good actor.
One of my favorite actors.
Yeah. We won't say who, but...
Yes. It's really great. So, yeah, it was cool to hear him talk about A Quiet Place 2. It's cool to hear him. Of course, he gets into... we ask him to get into Color of Night.
Yeah.
Because he filmed the infamous scene. And we now have, I feel like, enough material on the scene with Bruce Willis's penis that this has basically become a Color of Night podcast.
Yeah, I mean... That'll be our next miniseries. If Top Gun gets bumped again in November, we'll just go full into Color of Night.
Yep, light the pubes.
Yeah, light the pubes.
We'll go full on into light the pubes.
Yeah, one of the weirder runners we've had on the show, but I'm happy to continue it, and obviously to get the story from him is really, really funny and great. So you will hear that later today.
It's insane that we've had, I think, at least 3 people now who have worked on that movie. So it just happened. It's just luck.
It's luck. Yeah, it is. It's beautiful serendipity. So I want to get into this interview, Charles, but I just want to, do my favorite part of the show, which is give some shout outs. We only have 2 shout outs this week. If you want to be a part of this shout out crew, please think about subscribing on our Patreon or just reaching out to us and saying how much will it cost to have my name said at the beginning of the show. We'll be happy to help on that. But this episode is brought to you by Jeremy Dillon, and we want to encourage everybody to listen to his podcast, My Favorite Album, where each week he talks to a different musician, songwriter, actor, or filmmaker about the music they love and how it's influenced them and their work. And this episode is also brought to you by John B. So what do you think about that, Charles?
It all feels so good.
It does. It really does. And here comes Kevin's just outright criminal interpretation of the plot theme, and we'll be back right after. You bring up a camera moving an actor, and I'm sure Charles was going to bring this up too, but did you do that shot in Fallout with Sean Harris holding his breath before the water kind of comes over him in the truck when the truck is getting pushed into the river? Do you know the shot I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Was that you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you prepare an actor to be, handcuffed and then submerged violently underwater?
I remember seeing those pieces unfold too. It was really crazy. I know the stunt guys talked them through everything. I know that they did a couple of rehearsals. I know the stunt people were right off camera. And they trained him to hold his breath. I think it looked worse than it actually was because, again, it's movie magic.
Right.
And he was able to do it quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the hairy ones, especially with the truck going down and all that crazy stuff.
Well, what is your relationship like with Wade on these movies?
I like Wade a lot.
Yeah.
I think there's a mutual respect.
Okay.
I think his go-to guy for underwater, if he can get me out there, he will have me. And Tom would like to have me out there because they know how I like to work and they like the way that I work. And even though they do have people out in the UK and I end up having to deal with roadblocks, or production does, they still get me out there because they know I'm going to get the shots and we're going to be done. And they've had some not so good experiences in the UK. What was it? Tomorrow Never Dies. They shot for a week in London and came away with nothing. And Tom and crew came here to LA and we shot at a tank that was just south of here.
Wait, which movie was this? You said Tomorrow. That was a
Edge of Tomorrow, Charles.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. I'm getting my Edge of Tomorrow. And that was a fun shoot. But we shot everything that was shot in the UK in one night. And we walked away.
That's the whole Louvre sequence and the him
Yeah.
under. Okay.
But you had to redo it here in LA? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I would have loved to have gone to UK, but I think they were strapped for time. I think they were strapped for money. So we ended up doing it here. And Tom was there, spot on every time, and we knocked it out.
Yeah, I mean, was why was the UK? Did you look at the footage and you were just like, this is unusable?
I did look at some of the footage, and yes, it was pretty much unusable.
What makes bad underwater photography? Just you can't see anything, or
It's really the style of shooting, and there are some people who profess to be underwater camera people. They're very well accomplished in other aspects of our industry in terms of filming, second unit, DP, all kinds of things. Very well. But for some reason, they still want to do the underwater, and they can't. There's one fellow who doesn't wear fins because he can't really swim. He wears sneakers in the water with his camera. Usually one of my cameras. So if the camera has to move from A to B, he can't swim it. Somebody, meaning one of the utility or two of the utility divers, literally have to pick him up and move him for the shot. Now, you have no composition. You have nothing going on there. It's basically an embarrassment, quite honestly. And that's what they were faced with. So I bring, a different approach to all of this. I take it seriously. It's the only thing I really do. I don't care about other photography, above water, any of that stuff. I'm stuck in the water and glad for it. So it's my element. I have learned through the School of Hard Knocks how to make a lot of stuff happen. And we do have classes here through the SOC, so I can impart some of that because I don't want to take it with me. I got to leave it behind. So it just hasn't worked out that well in the UK for what we're trying to do. And there is a director trying to get me out there now and having resistance.
Wow.
But I think she'll persevere. We'll see.
So what else were you doing on Fallout specifically?
Fallout.
Yeah. Mission Impossible 6.
Simon Pegg was doing some welding maybe underwater or something?
He was welding. We had the police vehicle upside down.
Yes.
Right.
We had the police vehicle violently being thrashed into the water.
Right.
And we were inside this thing getting bashed around. Simon was pretty darn good, I have to say. He just toughed it out and he kept going. So we were able to get all of our shots. It took a little while. And Chris was very active, Chris McQuarrie, very active in making sure we got what we wanted. The van was upside down there. And some of those shots were challenging and we did get it. The confines of that set were pretty interesting because we had to cheat a lot because we had 2 or 3 people in there, plus safety, plus my assistant, plus somebody with a light. So it was really crowded. So it was all worked out together to make it work. And So we finished inside the van, and then Chris wanted this POV of a diver swimming up to the van, already upside down. And I'm probably, I don't know, 35, 40 feet away from the van. And he says, I want you to keep the crosshairs on the P in police. It's okay, no problem. It's not that easy. And I was really close. I think it all worked out. But he was so specific on it. I was going, oh boy, am I going to be able to do this? Because I have to swim as fast as I can. This is a guy coming in to save them, and I'm swimming as hard and fast as I can. I got to right into the door. And I did it about 3 or 4 times. And then, and it's all balls out. And then I get there, hey, can you go any faster? Going, no, I can't go any faster. Because I've got myself, I got a tank, I got a weight belt, and I got 95 pounds of housing I'm pushing through the water all together. So it's a lot of stuff. But, these guys, anybody who's doing an underwater situation, they haven't been involved with it, they don't understand it. They're up there drinking their lattes, looking at the monitor, going, oh, this is easy, this is great. But they have no idea what we're going up against underwater. It's just the cross we have to bear all the time.
Right. What's the biggest tank you've ever shot in?
Well, I've shot at the NBL, Neutral Buoyancy Lab in Houston, the NASA tank. And that is, I think, 100 by 200 by 33 foot deep.
Was that for a movie?
2 movies, and then I would go back just to requal because I loved it so much. I did one for Armageddon with Michael Bay and Ben Affleck, Billy Joe Thornton, I think, and there was somebody else that went in the water too. So they were all dressed up in astronaut suits, and that was very cool, really cool.
Yeah.
And then I went back for Space Cowboy with Clint. And Clint is a different breed when it comes to directing. He's amazing. There's no video assist. There's no walkie-talkies. There's no roll and cut. It just goes, okay, let's go. And you better be on your toes when you say, let's go. Actors and crew and all of us.
Yeah.
Amazing. So no video assist. He doesn't even want to see it. He's like the old time guys. When he grew up in the spaghetti westerns, there was no video assist. This is how he learned.
Right.
So he's always on time, never works overtime, and always wraps up on time. Guy's incredibly focused. Amazing.
Yeah.
So Jack Green was his cameraman, and Jack's an old friend. We've done a lot of movies together. And so I got there, and I said, okay, here's Clint, and here's Jack. So we'll go down, and we want you to just do a little set. Let's do a test. Let's see what it's like. And so I went down there, and I shot some footage of what was supposed to happen. I forget what it was. I came up, and they go, okay, you're done. I go, what do you mean I'm done? No, we got the shot. That was it. So very funny working with Clint. I really enjoyed it, but it was funny. No walkie-talkies, not allowed.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about some of the other directors that you've worked with. I'm very curious to hear about Terrence Malick. I mean, the Tree of Life supposedly had footage shot for it, I think in the late 70s and the 80s, and then he put it aside and then came back to it. And I'm curious, were you a part of any of the earlier footage, or was that around the time of the main production?
It was around the time of the main production. I mean, Terry's an amazing guy. He can describe the frame with such emotion like I've really not heard anybody else speak that way. He's amazing and very easygoing, unassuming guy. I did the New World with him first up, and he basically cut me loose with a whole unit. Never worked with him before, and we went to this quarry and did the American Indian girls swimming.
Oh, it's like the opening scene, right?
Yes. And looking up through the water at her and the people in behind her. I mean, I staged all of that, and I hit a home run with Terrence. He's a great guy. Then he had me come back for the Tree of Life, and God, I'd work with him anywhere.
For the Tree of Life, did you shoot there's the kid who drowns in the public pool, but there's also the house that's underwater with a teddy bear, and like it kind of opens up, and
yes,
that was sort of more poetic, that stuff. What did you shoot all of that, or was it?
Yes, all of that. All of that was real time, and there were some pretty images. And he's into the grace and the artistry of it to tell his story, and he's just. I can't say good enough stuff about him. I think all actors and actresses would love to work on a Terrence Malick show. Just amazing. I'm trying to think what the girl's name is. Who is the lady? Chastain, Jessica Chastain.
Yeah.
We ended up filming her in a real stream in Austin, and she was in there with a flowing dress and the whole thing. She did amazing. And then we had to do another setup with a couple of guys in army uniforms, I think, and a young boy with him. They were floating to the surface. Yeah, he had all these little, and then I did a bunch of stuff at night into the trees, and it was all these poetic pieces that he was looking for. So it's out of the box. You know, it isn't like you're looking at a straight up shot. It's something that really has an emotion, and he's really trying to tell a story, and he knows how to tell a story.
Right. Yeah. Spielberg, you've worked with on AI, Minority Report, War of the Worlds. There's a great sequence in War of the Worlds where the cars are coming off the ferry and they're coming into the water. Was that stuff that you were doing?
The stuff on the surface going into the water, no. But I was part of where Tom was hanging onto the car with the girl as it was going through the water. And I was part of the guys getting yanked out of the water. Stephen, I would have to honestly say, is probably one of, if not the most demanding directors out there.
Really?
Yep. He's such a perfectionist. He knows exactly what he wants, and you better give it to him, or you're going to hear about it.
Oh, really? He always seems so easygoing and everything whenever you see
him. I think it's a facade. You know, when he grabs the reins of a show, he shows up half an hour before call, walks with the AD and the cameraman. He's totally prepared, absolutely totally prepared. I mean, for lack of a better description, he takes no prisoners. It's amazing.
Wow.
The first thing I did with him was Saving Private Ryan, and that was off as a second unit by myself, so I did well. We did Amistad. I mean, I've done a lot of shows with Stephen. An amazing director, though. I mean, look what he's done.
I mean, yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, Janusz, his main cameraman, is a really, really good friend. And he's an absolute nut, but the most amazing cameraman. Extremely loyal. I mean, I truly love him. He's a good friend, and he's very loyal. I can't speak enough good about Janusz. He's so good. It's amazing.
That's great. What did you do for Minority Report? Was it the I forget what the names of the people who can see the future? Are they in that pool? Was it stuff there? Or was
it was in that pool.
Precogs.
There's also a flashback at a swimming pool.
Right.
Yes, and I'm trying to think of what that was. I'm going to have to do a rewind on all these things. It's just another blip on the screen, unfortunately, gentlemen. You know, I just keep going one show to the next, and they all sort of meld together. But it's a hell of a way to make a living. I love it.
I mean, your filmography is insane. I mean, it would take us forever to go through. Another person I wanted to ask you about was Christopher Nolan, because you did Inception. So
yes.
I mean, what was it that you were doing for Inception?
Inception was inside the van, and also I did Insomnia with him up in Vancouver, but he wasn't quite as well known at that time with Wally Pfister. But it was the van that was underwater with Leo, Mos Def, Helen Page, which is now a different name, and then Tom Berenger in the back. And Chris is one of the most prepared directors out there. Sport coat, dress shoes, nice slacks, all of his notes in his hand. Very, very well prepared. Knows exactly what he wants. And he's been using Hoytema, who's another good friend and such a peach. But on Inception, we had the van in the water. Now here's Mr. Dapper, who's usually in a sport coat, white shirt, the whole thing. He's in a wetsuit now. And he is in the water. And he's hanging out at the windows of the front of the van. And I have to come through the door of the van and then go down the center aisle. So I pick up Leo, and then I hit Ellen, and Mos Def was to the left, and then Ellen, back to Ellen. And we were shooting film, shooting anamorphic, and it was a handheld camera. I couldn't have anybody help me pull focus because of the confines. So I'm framing, pulling focus, and literally walking on my knees kind of through the bus to try to get the shot. And early on, I had to do a shot of just Leo floating through the water. And Leo went one way and I went the other way. And it didn't work the first time. So I came up and Chris goes, "What happened? What's wrong?" Now, with Chris, no excuses. Just take the hit. So I said, "I screwed up." He goes, "Okay, let's go again." So if I made an excuse, I would have got hammered. So we did it, and we're done. So now we're doing this shot that you just mentioned, going through the bus. And I did some great takes. Leo, Mos Def, Ellen, and then go past Ellen to Tom Berenger struggling in the back. We got about 3 or 4 takes that were perfect. So now this next one, Chris goes, okay, I want you to hold on Ellen this time. I'm, okay, no problem. I jumped in the water. And I start doing the shot. And Leo, Mos Def, Ellen, and then as I hit Ellen, I'm programmed, I move off, I start moving off Ellen, and I knew I screwed up as soon as I moved the camera to the left, and I had to keep going. I knew I screwed up. He knew I screwed up. So I knew I was going to get it. And so I popped up to the surface, and before anybody could say anything, I yelled, "Permission to redeem myself, sir." and he goes, "Granted." So it diffused the whole thing, and I went in and did it, and we were done. But he's that kind of guy. You know, he's got a great British sense of humor. Lovely guy. But that movie, he is so focused, and as most of those guys are. There's a lot of pressure on them. I would not want that pressure. I finish the day, I go home and have a drink, I'm done. He, on the other hand, is dealing with cutting and editing and other shots. So it's a hard road for a big show like that.
Yeah. What about Fincher? You worked with David Fincher on Benjamin Button.
David Fincher and I go back to ILM also. David Fincher was in the matte department at ILM.
Oh, wow. So you worked with Fincher back in the old days of ILM, too.
Yes, how funny it was. And it's funny because he had Kim Marks as his operator, and Kim Marks also worked at ILM when I was there. He was Robert Ellswood's assistant. So I knew Kim from the early 80s also. So Kim was the operator. So I went out and did a couple of shots for them off the sailboat. But it was great to reconnect with everybody. And, obviously David Fincher has skyrocketed. Amazing. Very, very successful.
Yeah. And I guess you were involved with JJ on Mission Impossible 3, even though it's not in your credits. But you also did his Star Trek movie.
Yes, that was not very much for underwater. It was a flash in the pan. It might have been 2 shots.
Oh, okay.
How I got credit, I don't know. And we were stuck in this horrible pool that was a facility for, I think, physical training and things. And they over-chlorinated the water. It was dirty. It was not the best of situations. But we got the shot and they made it work. A whole other story.
Was that with Simon Pegg as well?
Yes.
Yeah. When he's going through the tubes or whatever?
That's it. Yes.
Yeah. Let me tell you, Pete, I have a photographic memory of every one of your underwater shots here.
You're kidding. That's pretty scary. That's scary.
So I'm assuming you were in the pool with Leo again in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The literal pool.
Oh, my God. That, I had to do a Quentin show. I really did. Yeah. I mean, how could you refuse?
What a movie to do, too.
Oh, my God. Yes, Leo was there with his flamethrower. And Bob Richardson, who's an old friend, we go way, way back, obviously his cameraman. Very interesting set, very quiet. Quentin, he rules with authority. Interesting gentleman, he's got his hat on backwards, his high top white sneakers, and swear to God, a Sherlock Holmes Cavendish pipe that he's smoking around the set. No electronic slates, only chalk. Won't let you have even an eraser slate. It's got to be chalk slate. That's it. But I remember doing that thing, and I remember before we did it, they did a whole bunch of above water, and we were in the canyons just opposite Universal in a seriously residential area up in a cul-de-sac. And this house was circa 70s. It hadn't been touched, and that's why they used it. And throughout the night, before we got up, that stunt girl did the most blood-curdling scream, take after take after take.
Wow.
The entire neighborhood had to hear this whole thing. It was unbelievable. Just kept going and going. He's going, oh my God, this is amazing. But it was definitely a night to remember. Certainly, no other way around it. I mean, I shot a couple of things just falling through water. I think there was a radio and some other silly things. But I don't think I've been in the water with that much blood thrown in at once. It was everywhere. But it was, I'm so glad that I did it. It was definitely a pleasure.
Wow. More is more with Tarantino, it seems.
You know, he's got his style, and he's. I mean, look at his stuff.
Yeah.
Look at his filmography. That guy's amazing, and he's a true film guy. I mean, we were shooting film, so I don't get to do that too often.
Well, you worked on Quiet Place 2, which is finally coming out. Do you have any?
Yes.
Do you have anything to tease? Are the monsters in the water this time? What's going on?
You don't really see them, but people get sucked around in there. Yes, that was. Oh, so Scott Farrar was and he used to work at ILM. He was the second unit director, and I guess he does effects too. But Scott was part of that whole crew. It's amazing, the alumni that have stuck it out, and we still cross each other's paths. This guy was tied up, and he was trying to escape, and then the bad guys pulling him back, and we did some great stuff there. It was another one-day crash and bash.
Oh wow!
With a totally unindoctrinated water crew. So, you know, a lot fell onto me to make things happen, but, you know, that's the way it goes. We got through it. It was pretty spooky, actually. And, you know, we had to do the obligatory fall in the water, and the first take nailed it. He was like dead center, fully spread eagle, right in the middle of the frames. Okay, next. So we went on and did that, but there were a lot of close-ups of him fighting and struggling to get away. Finally, the rope breaks, and he takes off.
Wow. We can't wait to see more of your handiwork.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that one goes.
Yeah.
Did you shoot the end of Bourne Ultimatum? The very end?
What part would that have been?
He's in the water and you think he's dead?
Does he have the hood over his head? No, that's a different one.
It says you're underwater DP uncredited on Bourne Ultimatum. And at the end of that movie, you think he's dead and he's in the water, and then suddenly he starts moving. It's a cool moment. I just wondered if you were responsible for that.
I'm sure I did. I'd have to look. You know, I keep a pocket folder, at least I used to, on every show that I've done, and I have probably 3 or 4 bankers boxes full of those things.
Yeah.
That have it has storyboards, call sheets, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
So I got to start looking through some of those and pull it out. But yes, I did do it. I'm trying to remember the exact scene. I got to start looking at these movies again.
I have another director I want to ask you about quickly, Wes Anderson, because you did Life Aquatic.
Wes is a champ. As you bring up these directors, I kind of come to the conclusion that I can't see the forest for the trees, and I truly have not been appreciating the role I played with all these directors. It's pretty amazing, actually. I mean, this is the who, and who am I? I'm just some underwater guys holding a camera.
Right.
Wes is a great guy. He's so much into the symmetry, and he's really got a great sense of humor. Bob Yeoman I think Bob has done everything from Bottle Rocket on up, everything.
Yeah.
And Bob's a great guy, dryest sense of humor. We share an agent, and he's just a good soul. Wes is a collaborator, and he really wants to know what's going on. And, you know, we have an underwater speaker so that topside people can talk to everybody underwater, meaning even talent or stunts or grip and certainly camera. And you could hear Wes giving instructions to Bill Murray. And as he's saying the lines, you can hear Wes over the speaker laughing at his own lines, which was pretty funny. It was very funny. I mean, just the whole thing, for me, that was a dream come true. Probably the best location I've ever had. We were at Cinecittà in Rome. And I was staying like 2 blocks from the Spanish Steps. You can't beat that.
Wow.
And we were on the Fellini stage. I mean, there was so much history there. They built the wackiest sets. We did a lot of cheats for some of those shots to make them happen. So it was challenging. It was fun. Owen was crazy. I mean, Willem Dafoe. I mean, all of them really were having a great time. I mean, you could tell that they enjoyed working together and they enjoyed working with Wes.
Yeah.
So it was just a fun show to be part of. I have in my shop, I have a whole area that just has a bunch of antique underwater housings that go way back. And I have the housing that was on camera in the Life Aquatic with the camera inside, the yellow round thing.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I worked out a deal with the prop master. He wanted to borrow a bunch of my housings for background in one of the inside the vessel. And I said, okay, Sandy, you can have them. I said, but I don't want any money. I want that camera and housing when you're done. That's awesome. How I got it. But yeah, that was a fun show. It really was. Owen was amazing. And there was one spot where I had to go back and forth between, it would have been Willem and Bill. and Wes was up there. Okay, move, and then move. And so, I'm listening on the thing, and I'm going back and forth like this. And I guess I missed one of the cues. Now, Owen was behind me, watching what was going on. Now, Owen got the cue. I didn't. So now I'm trying to hold a frame, and Owen's trying to push me over to get the other frame, and I'm fighting Owen. He's fighting me. It was the most hilarious thing underwater.
That's amazing.
But just a stellar experience. Angelica Houston being there. It was a lot of fun. And the silliness with all the colors of the coral and the sets were being Esteban, and Bill Murray coming up with the crazy eyes out of the water. I mean, it's just all silly stuff.
Yeah. Well, if you go through your notes and you find your Mission Impossible notes and you want to scan them and send them to us, we will happily share them.
Oh, I will do that.
Yeah,
I will.
That would be amazing.
We'd love that. We could share it with everybody and put it in our show notes to share with the people.
I will definitely do that.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun. Let's see. What else do we have?
We've gone through so much already.
Oh, Kathryn. This is my last one. Kathryn Bigelow.
Kathryn's an amazing lady, actually. Obviously, she was married to Jim, which is interesting because I knew Gail too. Gail Hurd. He was with Gail for quite a while, and Kathryn's very driven. She knows exactly what she wants. What was the show that? I'm trying to think where we stuffed people into the trunk of a car. It'll come to me. I did 2 movies with her. One of them was K-19. And the only involvement in that was doing the submarine periscope shots for her on that. But the other one, what the hell? I'd have to look at my credits to see what the dang movie was.
I'm trying to find the other one you did with her, too.
Pete, I have to really ask you a serious question about one of maybe your lesser-known movies, but you did a little movie called Color of Night.
Oh, no.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Were you under the water with Bruce Willis's penis?
I was.
Yeah. Okay.
I was, and I was, and
it kind of floats up, It kind of makes a little appearance.
It wasn't supposed to.
Okay.
And I'm surprised they left it.
Okay.
And here's how oblivious I was at that time. So it was a 35-3 film camera, and I remember having to stand up in the pool and talk to somebody about something. Could have been the AD, could have been the director. Meanwhile, the camera, I'm holding it with one hand. And I don't even know where it's shooting. Well, guess where it was shooting? Right there.
Yeah.
So somebody came over and said, I think you got to move that camera. I went, oh, yeah, but that's the truth. Yeah, definitely caught it.
Right. Pretty good size or what?
I refuse to answer on the grounds.
Okay.
It may incriminate me.
Well, because there's 2 underwater sex scenes. There's the pool and there's also the bathtub. So... Were you involved in both or just the pool?
I don't think I was involved in the bathtub.
Okay.
Thankfully.
That's, I believe, a scene where he drives a motorized car or something over Jane March's pubic hair. I don't know if you remember this sequence.
No, I don't.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I could not have been there. I'm going to have to dig those notes out too now.
Listen, there's a director's cut Blu-ray you can get your hands on. Just tell your wife to go to the other room and just enjoy,
God.
Pete. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, Pete. Whenever we have anybody on the show who's worked on Color of Night, they get grilled by Drew.
We've had a surprising number of people who have been... But I think you were the closest to Bruce Willis's wiener of all.
I was.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's quite a moniker.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're responsible for the iconic shot that's out there that will never be forgotten.
I can't believe they would leave it in, too. I mean, that's pretty wild. Now I got to look at it.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
The movie.
Richard Rush just passed away, too. Was he fun to work with?
Yes.
Okay.
He was. I mean, for the most part, everybody's really a lot of fun to work with. And I think in some ways, what they're doing makes them a little nervous going underwater. So I think they're on their best behavior. My whole thing, and I tell them, look, you're driving the bus. I'm here to make this easy for you. So if we can do this, we're good. We can do that, we're good. Sometimes it doesn't work. Most of the times it does.
Do you feel like movies with water get a bad rap?
Because it takes longer
Yeah.
and it's more expensive.
And there's danger and, you hear Waterworld and Abyss and everything. So, yeah.
Well, Waterworld was its own thing, and that was quite a fun show. But there were other things going on behind the scenes
Right.
that played into all the madness on Waterworld. But I'm trying to think of who it was. Insomnia. It was Al Pacino who fell in the water.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
And we had a film. It was at a big wave tank up in Vancouver, and they had real logs in the water, all tied together, and effects was banging them around. I mean, if you got in the middle of them, you're going to get crushed. So it was great shooting, and we had the stunt guy there. We were close to him and showing the whole thing happen. We had to get one piece of Al Pacino, just a close up. Al wouldn't get in the water, so I forget what producer it was. They said, "I need you to go talk to Al, but getting him in the water." And they literally stuffed me in his trailer. And I'm sitting at the table, and he's 3 feet away from me, and I'm talking to Scarface, which was rather interesting. And what I did find out is, he's basically a New York kind of guy, and he didn't like to go in the woods because of ticks. He didn't, a lot of things that really didn't sit with him, and the water was one of them. And I went and I said, I said, "Hi, Al. Pleasure to meet you. I'd love to get this really quick shot of you. I've worked this out to where we're going to put a set of stairs in the water so you can stand on the top step, your head's above. You just take 2 steps down. I'm going to be right there, close up, open up your eyes for half a second, and we're going to get it." Because I can't open my eyes. I won't open my eyes. I said, "It's clear water. It's clean." I had a bottle and one of the bottles of water in my hand. It's just like this. He goes, "You might feel it a little bit," I said. He goes, No, I can't do that." I said, "Al, it'll be quick. We'll get it." So we got him out there, got him on the step. He walked down. I think we did 2 takes. Never opened his eyes, ever. And if you look at the film, no eyes open, but it's him.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was a funny scene, just being thrown in his trailer. I went, whoa, okay.
I love that. Well, we thank you so much for being on the show. We hope this was not as painful as being trapped in a trailer with Al Pacino trying to cajole him underwater.
No, this was actually fun,
Okay.
and it brings back some of these memories. Now I got to go through those damn pocket folders and see what I can pull out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously, we would love. I mean, we would love to see all of them, probably, but we can share the Mission Impossible ones, obviously. Yeah.
Okay, I will get that, and if I can find any other silly stuff, I will.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we'd love to see it.
Well, keep us in the loop and let us know if you end up going over for 8. We are very curious.
I will definitely let you know, and thank you very much. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much. Pete Romano, a legend in the business and somebody who's still working. I think he was about to leave or something. Wasn't he going to Europe or something after?
Yeah, I mean, he's constantly doing just the biggest movies. He seems like he is the guy. I mean, the directors he's worked with, Terrence Malick, Clint Eastwood, Steven Spielberg, Christopher Nolan, David Fincher, Wes Anderson, Kathryn Bigelow, it boggles the mind. I mean, it's pretty incredible. There's so many, and his story about Al Pacino not opening his eyes underwater.
Right.
Like there's just, I mean, he's done it all. Like if it's underwater, he's done it.
Yeah. Really, really cool. I know there isn't a ton of Mission Impossible stuff in this episode, but I feel like all the other stories more than make up for it. And we do get some great Fallout stories, so it's not completely Mission Impossible free.
Yeah, I gotta ask him to see if he found those notes. He said he had notes on the Mission Impossible movies, so I should.
Oh yeah.
I'll reach out to him and see if he sends us anything. I'll put him in our show notes.
He's probably underwater right now.
Yes, but maybe he gets cell service down there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he offered to show us his laboratory, so hopefully we can do that sometime.
Yes,
after
that would
quarantine.
be cool. Yeah, if we're able to get that those notes from him, we'll put them in the show notes in our episode guide on the website, which you should check out regardless. LightTheFusePodcast.com. In the episode guide, look at all our different episodes. Look at the show notes for each one. It's a nice visual companion to the show. And you should consider signing up for our Patreon, patreon.com/lightthefuse. It helps make the show possible. It's a huge help to us. Your support means everything. All those Patreon subscribers that we have make this show possible. And so please help us make this show happen every week. We've got some fun Patreon episodes coming up. We just did one that's a review of the new Mission Impossible Blu-ray. We did we've got some fun ones coming up that are about a cameo that was planned for Ghost Protocol that got canceled. That was very intriguing, that we'd never heard before. And so, yeah, there's some really fun Patreon episodes. They come out every week, so please sign up at the bonus content level and you will get those. Also, get a shirt or a mask or a tote bag or a laptop bag or a phone case, all kinds of merchandise. You can get that from our TeePublic page. You can find that linked from our website, LightTheFusePodcast.com. Under the merch section, you can see some samples there, and then it'll provide you a link to those items and other items you'll find there on the TeePublic site. So that, I think, is about it. I want to give a special thank you this week to Jacob Ballard. Thank you, Jacob, for all your support making this episode possible. And also thank you to our editor and mixer, Luke Burson, and to our production assistant, Abby Smith, and to our intern, Adam Bumis, and of course to Kevin Blumenfeld for his legally similar and dissimilar music, both very much appreciated. And anything else, Drew?
Well, do you think we should have warned Jacob Ballard that this was going to be a penis-intensive episode? Like, I don't know if I was sponsoring a Mission Impossible podcast and I heard this much about Bruce Willis's penis. I don't know. We'll talk to him on.
Would this be the one that you'd want to be on?
This is the one that I would say.
You would want this one.
I would want this one. Yeah, I'm saying he might not. We'll be talking to him this weekend. This is part of a perk of being a top tier Patreon member. This great chat that we have once a month.
Yes.
So we'll have to give him the heads up this week.
That is an awesome group of people on our monthly Skype chat. Yes. So please, that's another level of the Patreon. Sign up, patreon.com/lightthefuse.
Yep. And we'll be back next week.
Yeah. Well, you know what's next week? Do you have any idea, Drew?
Is it Mr. De Palma?
It's Mr. Brian fucking De Palma.
Oh my God. I cannot wait for people to hear these episodes.
Yes. Brian comes on with his writing partner and romantic partner, Susan Lehman. They have so many great stories to tell about the writing of the book. And of course, we talk a lot about Mission Impossible. It will blow your mind. Just wait.
So good. We can't wait. So until then, for Charles, this is Drew. See you next week.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. And before we go, another mission, should you choose to accept it, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember that you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LightTheFusePod, and email us questions or comments at lightthefusepodcast@gmail.com. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.